Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Gochadigaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Gochadigaya Gochadi Shanka Baje Ganta Baje Baje Karta Shanka Baje Ganta Baje Baje Karta Madhura Mridanga Baje Prema Baje Ganta Baje Madhur 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 Baje Shanka Baje Ganta Baje Madhur 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 Baje Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Baje Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Baje Nithai Gaur Haribo 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 Nithai Gaur Haribo Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Bahu Koti Chandra Jini Badana Ujvala Bahu Koti Chandra Jini Badana Ujvala Gala deche bana mala kor jal mala Gala deche bana mala kor jal mala Chuka Narada Yemegad Gada Shiva Chuka Narada Prema Gada भक्ति विनोद देखे तोरार संपाद भक्ति विनोद देखे तोरार संपाद जया जया गौर चांदे आरती को जानवी ततावानी जगमान लोवा गौरंगे आरती को शोभा जग जन मन लोभा गौरंगे आरती को शोभा जग जन मन लोभा जग जन मन लोभा जग जन मन लोभा निथाय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निथाय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय उत्तरे श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नित्य नामिने नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय उत्तरे श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नित्य नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पश्चादितारिणी नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पश्चादिता जया श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद जया जया श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद जया Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Radhanath, Radha Radhanath Radha. Jai Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram. Jai Giri Govardhan, Jai Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jai Giri Govardhan. Jai Nitai Gaurachanda, Nitai Gaurachanda, Gaurachanda. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra. Jagannath Swami Nayanapatgami, Nayanapatgami Bhavatu me. 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 Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai go, Haribo, 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 Haribo. Nitai go, Haribo, 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 Haribo. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Haribo. Jayam Vishnupadaya Param Saparva Jaksharya Stotra Sastrimad. His Divine Loving Grace Abhay Charana Arvind Swami Bhakti Vedant Shila Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai. ISKCON समस्त पक्काचार्य शिला प्रभुपाद की जाए। जय ओम विष्णु पदाय परम सपर वजाक्षर्य स्तोत्र सचिन्मत Divine Loving Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakti Vindi ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Nam Acharya Haridas Thakur ki jai. Sri Sat Goswami ki jai. Sri Panchatattva ki jai. Sri Nitai Gaur Sundar ki jai. Their Lordship Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Their Lordship Sri Radha Radhanath Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kundi Giri Govardhana ki jai. Shri Mayapur Dham ki jai. Shri Mathura Dham ki jai. Shri Goloka Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Navdeep Dham ki jai. Neelachal Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Our beloved spiritual masters, divine loving grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Purana ki jai. Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Shri Lakshmi Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai. Bhakta Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Tulasi Devi Bhakti Devi ki jai. Ganga Maya Manavai ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrindi ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the Lord Sri Guru and Sri Gaunitai Go Premananda. His Holiness Partha Sarati Das Goswami Maharaj ki Thai Go Premananda.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna. Okay, let's welcome His Holiness Partha Saratidas Goswami Maharaj. Like everyone, like we normally do. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I would like to welcome you, Maharaj, to New Jagannath Puri, and we're so fortunate to have your association today. Just a brief introduction. Maharaj was introduced to Krishna consciousness in 1973 in England, and he took initiation from his from our Acharya, founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And he's been preaching in South Africa since 1974. So that's over 50 years ago, right? Yeah, we'll welcome. I just want to say, Maharaj's been doing 10 campaigns since then. He's introducing everybody to the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the Kirtan. He's giving us some beautiful lectures on Sri Krishna, and also sharing prasadam with everybody. So he's giving us all the mercy that we require. I was reading something on Maharaj's website, and I just want to share it with you all. So Maharaj says, the devotee's heart is like a soft lotus, and to fully offer this to the Guru is real Guru Dakshina. So thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. We'd like to welcome you here, and we leave it all to you. Hare Krishna.
Tamarandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshmatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swambadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatavat Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Shajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishavitam Sha
He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchan Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sutadevi Pranamani Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama. We're going to read from the 6th canto, chapter 2, text 49. One of my favorite verses. And this verse is glorifying the holy name. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this chapter is called Ajamil, delivered by the Vishnu Doots. So Ajamil, we can identify with Ajamil because a lot of us are following in his sampradaya. He started off good, but then he took a dive. So there's a difference because we didn't even start off good. We just took a dive. But at the end, Ajamil was able to chant the name of God. So this verse is a summarization of this whole chapter. So let's do the Sanskrit. Mriyamano Harinama Grinam Putra Charitam Ajamo Api Ajid Dhamam Kim Uta Shradaya Grinam Mriyamano Harinama Grinam Pucharuparitam Ajamo Apijadamam Kimuta Shradaya Grinam. Translation: while suffering at the time of death, Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord. And although the chanting was directed towards his son, he nevertheless returned home back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chants the holy name of the Lord, where is the doubt that he will return to Godhead? Let's repeat. While suffering at the time of death, Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord. And although the chanting was directed towards his son, he nevertheless returned home back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chants the holy name of the Lord, where is the doubt that he will return to Godhead? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. At the time of death, one is certainly bewildered because his bodily functions are in disorder. At that time, even one who throughout his life has practiced chanting the holy name of the Lord may not be able to chant the Maha Mantra distinctly. We've understood that we should try to think of God at the time of death. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam jantanti klevam. But it's not as easy as that. And I give you the example. When you're asleep, can you think of God? You can't, with your intelligence, think of Krishna when you're asleep. So death is like that. You can't choose. Your mind will go here, it'll go there, it'll go all over the place. So at that time, even one who throughout his life has practiced, throughout our lives we have practiced, but we may not be able to chant distinctly the name of God. Nevertheless, such a person will receive the benefits of the chanting the holy name. While the body is fit, therefore, why should we not chant the holy name of the Lord loudly and distinctly? If one does so, it is quite possible that even at the time of death, he will properly be able to chant the holy name with love and faith. In conclusion, Prabhupada says, one who chants the holy name of the Lord constantly is guaranteed to return home back to Godhead without a doubt. Shamshaya means doubt. So sometimes we have doubt. But to have doubt is one of the offenses against the holy name. The holy name is non-different from Krishna and therefore all-powerful. So, Ajamil, Mriyamano Harinam. At the time of death, he was frightened. So, of course, we should not be frightened at the time of death because we understand that Krishna is there. He's there to protect us. He's our support. He's our friend. He can be our father. He can be our son in Vatsalya Ras. Madhurya Ras, he can be our lover. But the point is, he's there. Materialists, they don't have faith. And therefore they think, I'm leaving my family, my father, my mother, or my children, my wife. I'm leaving my house. When I was in hospital recently, the one lady opposite me, she was suffering from cancer. And at night she would moan. And she would say, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. Home, of course, meant someplace in Durban, not the spiritual world. And then when I woke up the next morning, the bed was empty because she had died. Cancer, suffering. So we also want to go home, but we want to go home back to Godhead. So Krishna undoubtedly will help us at the time of death. One devotee was telling me, doctor, that sometimes people, they don't want to go to sleep. I was asking him because I also have insomnia. So that means your mind is so restless, you can't always go to sleep. And he gave the example, there are people he's met, patients, who don't want to go to sleep because they're afraid they'll never wake up. Can you imagine that? They don't want to go to sleep because they're afraid they won't wake up. So death is like a big sleep. And we have the 8-hour dream, and we have the 16-hour dream. Isn't it? The 8-hour dream, for most human beings, they sleep 7 or 8 hours. You dream this and that you're the Queen Phoenix, that you have a lot of money. And then we have the 16-hour dream, that I'm a man, a woman, I'm Indian, perhaps I'm Hindi or Tamil, white-bodied. So this is also a dream. Both are dreams. But the difference is, in the 16-hour dream, if we practice sadhana bhakti, we can go back to the spiritual world. But in the 8-hour dream, there's no chance. Your mind is wild. You can't focus your mind at all during your 8-hour dream. There's no chance. But when you come to the stage of deep ashakti, and then you come to the beginning stage of bhav, when Vishuddha-sattva has descended, then your mind will be dwelling on Lord Krishna, Radha and Krishna. But that's extremely exalted, extremely advanced. And we're not on that stage. We have to be honest. We are on a much lower stage. So Mriyamana Harinam Putra Ucharitam. So Ajamil chanted the name of Narayan, but he wasn't referring to God. Who was he referring to? His son. Apparently it was the youngest son. And I've read in some commentaries that he was 88 years old, but not too sure about that. But he was quite old, and he was very attached to his son. So he called out the name of his son, not referring to four-handed Narayan, Vishnu, Lakshmi Narayan, but referring to his son. So at the time of death, whatever you're most attached to, that is what you will tend to think of. So Ajamil was most attached to this particular son. So he called out his name. So this is an example of nama bus. There's 4 types of nama bus. First of all, there's 2 types of holy name. I hope you're listening, because I'll be asking questions. So 2 types of holy name, Shuddhanam and Ashuddhanam. Shuddhanam means the pure name. And you put the word A in front, Ashuddhanam, that means what? That means the not pure name. The not pure name. And then in the not pure name category, there's 2 further categories, and they are Namabas, Namaparad. So in ordinary English, Namaparad would mean great offenses, and Namabas would mean general offenses, or if you like, light offenses. So Namabas is so powerful, although it is still general offenses. If you chant it, think it, remember. You don't have to chant, you can just remember also. You can actually ultimately go back to Godhead. Namabas can take you back to Godhead. Not immediately. And we give the example. You plant a fig tree. You plant a mango tree in your Phoenix garden. Do you get mangoes the next day? Do you get figs the next year? Takes a while. So you chant Nama Bus, you get the result, but it may take a while. That's all. So Mriyamana Harinam Putra Uparicharitam. Ajamel Api. Api means even. Ajad Dharma. Even Ajamel went to the Dham. And the Dham means the spiritual world. He went back to the spiritual world. And then the verse is Kimutak Shradaya Greenam. What to speak of those that chant with Shraddha? What does the word Shraddha mean? Faith. So you are all chanting with faith. You all have some faith. Shraddha, some faith. So your destination will be the spiritual world. You just have to wait until the holy name, until the benefit of the holy name fructifies. Or as Prabhupada has written here, you need only wait for the results of the chanting to mature in due course of time. It will mature, like the fig tree. The fig tree doesn't give figs every year. It may skip many years and then give. So you have to wait patiently, and then the fruit of Nama Bus will blossom. First you get the leaf, isn't it? There's a tree. Now try to imagine the tree. So first you get the seed, you get the trunk, and you get the leaf. The leaf would be the stage of Ashakti, great, great attachment to Lord Krishna. Much more attachment than we have, Ashakti. And then after the leaf comes the flower. And the flower is the stage of Bhav. This is the beginning stage of love of Godhead. So that's like the flower. And that flower is very aromatic. And like these flowers. And that flower attracts the black bee. And who is the black bee? Krishna. So it attracts Krishna. The stage of Bhav. It attracts Krishna. And then after the flower, what's the next thing we get? The fruit. So that's Prema, the love of God. Prema. So that comes. But even when the stage of Prema comes, the fruit, you imagine you have the mango tree, and you pick the mango, is not immediately ready to eat. It may be softish, but you take that fruit, that mango, and you wrap it in newspaper, and you put it in a dark place, perhaps, and you wait a few days for it to become mature. So even the stage of Prema becomes mature, and it goes to the next stage, which is called Sneha. The essence of Prema is Sneha. And then Sneha, the essence of Sneha is man. The essence of man is Pranaya, and then Rag, then Anurag, and then Mahabhav. But all of these stages are when you have a spiritual body. Now, we don't have a spiritual body. At least the last time I looked in the mirror, and the last time I looked at you, you don't have spiritual bodies. Spiritual bodies do not grow old. Spiritual bodies do not get COVID and influenza. Spiritual bodies do not get tuberculosis and AIDS. And South Africa, of course, is the center in the entire world for the entire world, the highest AIDS rate, South Africa, and the highest tuberculosis rate, South Africa. So spiritual bodies is Satchidananda. We have to wait a while to get those. So now we're going to backtrack. We have material bodies, and we're using them in Krishna's service. And our most important activity is to chant every day the names of God. And what are the names of God? Numerous. Namo Narayan Namaha. Am I correct? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. But what is the principal name of God? There are principal names and secondary names. Principal, Krishna's name, or any name of Krishna in relation to his pastimes. Madan Mohan, Radhanath, Shama Sundar. Any name in relation to Vrindavan. But the secondary names of God is Paramatma. It's the name of God in relation to the material world. And funnily enough, that would also include the name Jagannath, because what does Jaga mean? The universe, the world, and Nath, the Lord of. So Jagannath, it's also a secondary name, but Lord Chaitanya would chant Jagannath, Jagannath, Jagannath. But he wouldn't be thinking of Jagannath, Lord of this material universe. He would see Syam, bluish Krishna, playing a flute. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's one nice prayer. Sachi Sutta Ashtikam. May the darling son of Mother Sachi, who every day stood behind the Garuda Stamba while fixing his eyes on the Lord of his life, Lord Jagannath, the Lord of Nilachala, with tears falling from his eyes, glistening his tall body. May he walk again on the pathway of my eyes. It's quite nice, isn't it? No? That's Chaitanya, no, Savi Sutta. Savi Sutta. So, chanting the name of God. So Ajamil chanted the name of his son, whose name happened to be Narayan. Now I have a question. Why did he give his son the name Narayan and not Tom or Dick or Maributu? Why? Or Donald? Why did he trump those other names? You see the pun here? And instead gave the name Narayan. No. But very good speculation. I'll give you 10 out of 10 for speculating there. Now at that time, Ajamil, he wasn't in remembrance of God or Narayan. So he wasn't thinking, I will call my son after the name of God. He wasn't thinking like that. So why did he give the name Narayan? Because he was instructed by the Supersoul. The Supersoul empowered him, enlivened him, instructed him. Give that name Narayan. So he gave the name Narayan. Then he's chanting the name Narayan all the time. Narayan, come here. Let's take some food. Narayan, come here, let's play. He wasn't thinking of Lord Narayan. He was thinking of his young son. So he was chanting Nama Bas. He was not chanting with offenses, Namaparad. Namaparad means purposely, consciously. You are committing offenses. You know you shouldn't, but you do. Can you understand that? You come on a Friday night to the Jagannath Puri temple, and you go to the hundi, small little black box, and you put in a 5 rand coin, and you say, "Bless me, Lord Jagannath, because I'm now catching taxi and going to Suncoast. Please bless me that I can win. Jackpot. Jackpot. Or blackjack." And then you say, you promise, "If you let me win, dear God, I promise you I'll give you bigger donation. Instead of 1 stick of incense, I'll give you 2. And instead of small, unripe banana, I'll give you a nice banana, not forgetting coconut." So on purpose, you're committing offense. You criticize another devotee, and you know you shouldn't, but you criticize. And you think, well, it doesn't matter, because I also chant Hare Krishna, and I'll cover up. I'll cover up. You see this lady in the temple, and she's got a nice, bright silk Banaras sari. And you think, oh, doesn't look very good on her. She's too fat anyhow. She probably stole it. And anyhow, she eats too much. And then you think, well, I'm able to commit offenses, it's all right, because I also chant Hare Krishna. So this is Namaparad, on purpose, diligently, on purpose. You know, in a court of law, there's premeditated murder, when you plan it. And then there's other types of murder, like accidental. But if you go to your neighbor in Phoenix, but you carry with you the knife, it's premeditated, you know? But if you just go up there and angry and you grab any weapon you can, that's not premeditated. And it may be classified as second degree or something, or manslaughter or whatever. So there's a big difference between Namaparad and Namabas. So we're all chanting in that Namabas stage. And we are eligible to go back to Godhead, all of us. Now you might think I'm exaggerating. So in order to counter that thought, I'm going to read from the beginning of chapter 2, introduction, last sentence, first paragraph. Got that? You've got it in your mind now? Chapter 2, introduction, first paragraph, last sentence. Because I'll be asking you. So what does Prabhupada write? Even a chronically sinful man. Jagannath Subhadra Balaram Ki Jai. Even a chronically sinful man sorry, got it wrong. Chapter 3, first paragraph. Let's get it right. Even a chronically sinful man If he chants the Lord's holy name, even though not completely without offenses, does not take another material birth. How about that? So let's repeat it. After me. It is a fact that even a chronically sinful person who chants the holy name of the Lord, although not completely without offenses, does not take another material birth. Now that's pretty powerful. Would you agree? You can be a chronically sinful man or woman, and you can chant the holy name of the Lord, although not completely purely. In other words, not Shudanam, although Namabas, although not completely without offenses. There may be some offenses. You will not take another material birth in South Africa, in Phoenix. Instead, you'll be allowed to take birth in Ballito Bay or America or Alachua. No. Not take another material birth means you take a spiritual birth. So does that mean you go back to the spiritual world? Goloka Vrindavan? No. You take birth in the material world, in some Brahmanda or universe, where the Lord's pastimes are going on right now. So as we are sitting here, and it's 8:02, Krishna's pastimes are going on in some other universe. It's called a Brahmanda, after Lord Brahma. Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are going on right now. Ramchandra's pastimes are going on right now, but not in this universe. We missed Ramchandra's pastimes by something like 1.2 million years. We missed Krishna's pastimes by how many years? 5,000. We missed Lord Chaitanya's pastimes more or less by 500. But they're going on right now in some other universe. So that's where you take birth. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has referred to it as preliminary attainment. It's preliminary. You're not in the spiritual world proper, but you're in the spiritual world within the material world, which is good enough. It's good enough. So that's where you will take birth. So we are followers of Rupa Goswami. We want to follow in his footsteps. He's Rupanuga. He's actually a maidservant of Radharani. So we want to take birth as a gopi, like the Rishichari gopis, but not here in this earth planet. It'll be in some other universe. But we simply have to continue chanting, and we should try to go from Nam Abbas to Shudanam. We have to try. If you're not trying, then automatically it becomes Nam Aparaj. You have to try. So we're trying to go from Nam Abbas. Abbas means reflection. The sun rises in the morning. You can't see it, but still there is light everywhere. Or most of today, the sun was behind the cloud, so you can't directly see it. So the Nam, Shudanam has not risen yet, so it's Namabas. But that alone, that Namabas alone can take you, when it becomes mature, back to the spiritual world. And this is the example of Ajamil. In one lifetime, Ajamil went back to the spiritual world. It's not that you have to wait for 100 lifetimes, or 10 lifetimes, or 5. In this one lifetime, you can actually go back to the spiritual world. And the example is Ajamil. Ajamil Api, Ajadamam, Api, A-P-I, Api, even Ajimal. And he was doing all nonsense. So he is what you would call a chronically sinful person. Now, are any of you chronically sinful? I would assume no one would actually agree to that and put their hand up. We are not chronically sinful. We're trying to follow the religious path. We may slip now and again. We may not always chant all our rounds. Sometimes we may watch the odd Bollywood movie. But that's completely different to being chronically sinful. What's chronically sinful? Meat, fish, eggs. Chronically sinful. And chronically, because I looked it up, some people say it's a disease or something you have for more than 3 months, and others say for more than 1 year. Chronically. You're a chronically sick person. So we're not in that category. So by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, our destination is the spiritual world. And we have to be a little patient. Utsahan, nishtayat, dayat. Just be a little patient. And we will achieve this. Utsahan, enthusiasm. Always be enthusiastic. Utsahan, nishtayat. Confident. Utsahan, nishtayat, dayat. Patient. Patience. We have to be a little patient and carry on in this lifetime, chanting the name of God, rendering service, reading Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavad Gita, associating with devotees in a favorable way, and then we can achieve what Ajimal achieved. But actually we can achieve even better, because Ajimal went to Vaikuntha. And although Vaikuntha is the spiritual world and the ultimate destination of Prahlad and Dhruva, being followers of Rupa Goswami, we want to go to Vrindavan. From the spiritual point of view, it's absolute or equal. But from the neutral point of view, Shri Vrindavan Dham is considered superior. So this is our destination, and by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, given to us by Srila Prabhupada, we can achieve this. We have it within our grasp. It's there in your hand. Another example, Srila Narottam gives. You have the unripe mango, and you have the ripe mango. Now, for the mango to become ripe, all you have to do is wait. And then it becomes ripe. When it becomes ripe, it becomes very sweet. So we continue chanting Krishna's holy name. Be patient, with enthusiasm, confidence, confident that we will achieve this goal. Utsran Nishtad Dayat, Rupa Goswami himself tells us these 3 things. So I congratulate you all that you're on the right path. Please continue with firm faith and always trying to purify your chanting. And always remember to turn your cell phone off. Otherwise, it can get very embarrassing. Jagannath Subhadra Balaram ki jai. All right, now you can ask me some questions or make some comments. Do I have any pointers to chant shoot an arm? To improve. Yeah. It's my honest opinion that every year you should read Harinam Chintamani by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. There's one chapter on each offense. Read it, memorize it. And then you have to want to improve. If you want to improve your chanting more purely, then Chaita Guru. Who's Chaita Guru? The Lord in the heart. He will inspire you. He will say. He will direct you. But you have to want to. You have to want that. So Chaita Guru, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's most important book, Harinam Chintamani. And you can also research in Prabhupada's literatures where he talks about the holy name. And perhaps memorize, like that one quote. Canto 6, Chapter 3, Introduction, first paragraph, last sentence, word for word. Now we're going to see now. We're testing you back at school now. All right, word for word, without looking at the cell phone. It is a fact that even a chronically sinful person who chants the holy name, although not completely without offenses, will not take another material birth. Because I practiced it. That's why I know it. Now you can memorize that, and other verses perhaps. So you have to want to improve. And then Krishna will guide you. Maybe through Super Soul, maybe through some other devotee will say something. I remember reading Satsvarup Maharaj. He's a very honest Vaishnav. And he was chanting once. He wrote this down. He was chanting once. And one neophyte devotee came to him who wasn't even initiated. And Satsvarup Maharaj at that time was a guru, a sannyasi, and a GBC. And said, "You're not chanting properly." Because he was gabbling or perhaps missing some words. So Satsvarup Maharaj took it seriously. Thought, wow, this is Krishna speaking through this person. Perhaps I'm not chanting completely, properly. And I remember years ago, I went back to see my parents in England, and I had a friend from 55 years ago. He was a drug addict. He ended up overdosing, killing himself, drugs. But one day I went out with him for a walk, and I was chanting out aloud, and I gave him some beads. And then he looked at me and he started laughing and said, "You're not chanting properly." Now at that time I was a guru, initiated, and he was a drug addict. And he said, "You're not chanting properly." So then I slowed down and I chanted more carefully. And he said, "You're still not chanting properly." So I really slowed down. So I took it as instruction. So sometimes instruction, it's easier to take when it comes from the guru or a sannyasi, but it may come from someone else. So we have to be ready to accept instruction when it comes. Anything else? Well, we have the example of Kamsa. He was a resident of Vrindavan, but actually Mathura. And Mathura is taken as Dwarka also. But he didn't accept Krishna. Well, he accepted Krishna, but not as God. He accepted Krishna as his enemy. Rupa Goswami gives a definition of pure devotional service, and yapila sita sunyam jnana kamanavritam. Favorable. It's got to be favorable. So you chant in a favorable mood. Kamsa wasn't chanting. If we look, there are 4 types of namabas. Sankecham parihasam sta stovam helameva cha. Sankecham, indirectly. So that's Ajamil. Sankecham. Sankecham. What was the next one? Stobam. Sankecham was Jarasandha. Jarasandha, he chanted mockingly. Sankecham parihasam sa stobam Sishupal. He chanted derivative, can't even say the word, in an angry way, diminishing Krishna, derisively. The word derisively, anger. Sankecham, 1. Sankecham, stobam, helanam. Helanam means inattentively. So that's what we're doing. We chant sort of inattentively. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. Hey, did you see the neighbor? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Wow, they got a new car, huh? It's an Audi, huh? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I wonder what's on TV. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, Shah Rukh Khan. Oh. Inattentively. So that's our problem. It's called helanam, inattentively. So there's 4 types of namabas. Sankecham, Sankecha, indirectly, that's Ajamil. Sankecha, parihasam, jokingly, stopam, and helanam, the 4 types in chapter 6, canto 6. So we are guilty of that last one, helanam, chanting inattentively, not really concentrating, perhaps falling asleep, chanting and thinking of the weather, the politics, what's going on in the Gaza Strip, who you're going to vote for, etc. Sankecham parihasam sta stobam helameva. But any one of those 4, Vaikuntha nama grihanam, asheshaga, unlimited. You know that word ashesha? Ananta. What's ananta mean? Unlimited sins are washed away by any one of those 4 types. So we're very fortunate to be chanting God's name and just learn to appreciate that. My hearing in old age is going, so can you tell me? This is Rupanuga. See, we're following in Rupanuga's footsteps.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was reflecting on you saying that Ajamil, he listened, he listened to his super soul, and then he named his son Narayan. And I just
Yes,
wanted to know, how do we develop that listening ability to our Chaita Guru?
What?
How can we also listen to the
Oh.
Chaita Guru?
You can call it inspiration. Inspiration. We get inspired. But we want to be inspired for spiritual things. But even in the material world, you have someone like Ludwig van Beethoven, who's going for a morning walk, and suddenly he starts thinking, da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-dum, and then he starts writing a symphony. Beethoven Symphony Number 5. He was inspired. Archimedes, trying to work out the specific gravity of things. He's in a bathtub and he gets inspired. But these are being inspired for material things. We want to be inspired for spiritual things. So when Ajamil was inspired, let me call him Narayan. That was mercy. Definitely, that was mercy. So all of us, at some point or other, were inspired. We were inspired to take a book, to open it, to read it, to come to the temple. We were all inspired at some point or other. Inspiration.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. You were mentioning about how it's clear that we're in material bodies growing old. But I was thinking about how pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada, although they grew old, surely their bodies were also spiritual. So how can we understand the overlapping of a spiritualized personality with and its interaction with the material qualities of a body?
Where's my translator? How can we compare?
I'm just thinking
Prabhupada?
about how Srila Prabhupada, surely he had a spiritualized body, yet we still see that he did grow old. So how do we understand
he grew
that?
old. Oh, in other words, if he was a spiritual person, why did he grow old?
Yes, and that his body was surely spiritualized.
If his body was
Also.
spiritual. Yeah. There are certain laws in this material world, and one is old age, and one is disease. And even though these great Vaishnavas like Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta have spiritual bodies, still Krishna arranged that they get disease. Yeah. I was reading in 1921, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he came down with boils, and they were very nasty underneath the skin. And then he came down with hernia problem, and then colic, stomach problems. And this went on for 5 months, and he was told by a Vaidya to go to Bhubaneswari because the water there is very good. So he went there to try to get better. So 1921. So he would have been, 47 years old. And while he was there, he decided to establish a Gaudiya Mat temple in Jagannath Puri, in Bhubaneswari, and Alanath. And then next year, 1922, he established the Purushottama Gaudiya Mat in Jagannath Puri. And then we know Prabhupada also, when he came to South Africa, had toothache. have one of his toothbrushes. So, Krishna teaches through his devotees how to tolerate various problems. And one is old age, another is disease. But when we become spiritually advanced, we can perceive personalities like Bhaktivinoda and Bhaktisiddhanta in their spiritual identities. But you have to be on that level. So we can't pretend. So when we think of Srila Prabhupada, we think of him as elderly, Bengali. We think of him like that. But when you're spiritually advanced, in other words, you've understood your own spiritual sarup and that of others, simultaneously you'll see them in their spiritual forms. All right, what was that reference? Remember we said it together? Who can remember? Srimad Bhagavatam, I'll start it off. Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 6, chapter 3, introduction, first paragraph, last sentence. Now you memorize it. So thank you very much. We'll end with a short kirtan, a few minutes.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. His divine loving grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki, His Holiness Padasarthi Das Goswami Maharaj ki, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So I'd like to humbly thank Maharaj for attending our Jagannath Puri Hatta and sharing so much of nectar with us. So there's quite a few announcements, starting off with this Saturday, the 27th, is Harinam Sankirtan program starting at 10:30 a.m. In the month of Feb, we have quite a few appearance days. Vishnu Priya Devi's appearance day on the 14th On the 16th is Advaita Acharya Prabhu's appearance day. On the 21st is, 21st is Varaha Dev's appearance day, and 22nd is Lord Nityananda Prabhu's appearance day. On the 29th is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's appearance day as well. So please try and attend these programs. There's going to be some prasad served downstairs in the hall. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki, Shri Nitai Gaura Sundar ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, His Holiness Partha Satidas Goswami Maharaj ki, Jai. Hare Krishna.